Collective, I don't know why, but they're saying there's some type of event or something that happens this week that sets you off like almost into training mode. How Rocky, in the Rocky movies, Rocky style, when you play the music and you see him training and his, they got the other fighters in this big professional gym and he's outside chasing chickens and shit. It's stuff like something like that where you're about to go into your version of Rocky mode this week, where your focus is going to be so strong and so on point, and it's going to come on the heels of something that makes you angry. It's like something happens to where it's like almost like it's the last straw, and you're like, you know what? That is it. Boom, I know where my focus is. And you do not let anything deter you from that point forward. And it happens quite soon, quite fast is what I'm hearing. I just heard something about being shown somebody's true colors, about how they really feel about you. There's something about someone, there's something here about someone you think has your back who really doesn't. And then someone who didn't have your back before, but all of a sudden now they want to have your back. So it's like roles are reversing here, where someone that you think is stable and dependable now, you're about to find out they're not dependable. And that may be what triggers you and really upsets you and gets you into focus mode. And I don't know what it is. They do want to point out it's not a big blow up. It's not like a big blowout. It's just like it's a scenario where you're in the scenario. It's a common pattern that happens, but for some reason it happens and something clicks inside of you and you're like, that's it. Like, fuck that. This is it. I'm done. And then you're able to move forward. And as soon as you make that decision, right on the heels of that, boom, financial gain. Huge financial gain. And this, it's crazy because it's almost like you have 3 or 4 big events happening within the next week or two where it's like firecracker robust energy, and then there's a day of in between, and then another firecracker robust energy, and then a day in between, and then another firecracker, and it happens 3 or 4 times. Like boom, 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 boom. It's almost like, you how you see a big safe in a bank, and you see the bombs in there and they're trying to blow the doors up, like boom, 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 boom. That's kind of what they're showing me is going to happen. Which sounds scary, but it's not. It's just bigger events than you're used to. You don't, I just heard you don't realize how much you brought your A game when it came to something. And others have recognized that A game in you. And they're dying and chomping at the bit to talk to you regarding something that is like they have to have clarity about something. They need to know. They can't wait any longer. They just have to know and have clarity about something. They can't wait. So it right on the heels, it's like almost like you have to go through this. You have to have that boom, that burst of anger in that moment. They're showing you in that moment through an experience why this person that you think's dependable is not dependable. And it helps you go like, instead of helping them, instead of feeling like these residual feelings wanting to be there and trying to support them in some way, all of a sudden you're like, cut it off, boom, done. You know which way to move then. And then the next event right after that is some type of communication that you receive tied to some financial gain. So in this argument where somebody that you thought had your back and you thought was dependable totally dismisses something really important. That's what it is. They dismiss something that's very, very important to you, near and dear to your heart. It's valuable. And this is somebody who's known you for such a long time that they should definitely know this about you by now. They should know this about you. But they don't care about you the way that they say that they do, right? So there's some type of scenario where you're going to like be opening your heart or something, and then it's going to get like they're not going to react in the way that you were hoping. And it's like in that moment you have this righteous anger of like, okay, I fucking deserve better than this. And then right after that, your focus shifts, the decision's made, and then you get contact from this person who sees you bringing your A game in something and has a question, a dying, burning question. They can only get an answer. The only way they can get an answer from this question is to talk to you. So it's like, even if they weren't ready to talk to you, they have to have an answer to this question. So they're going to talk to you regardless. Career. 33 on the clock. All right. They want to point out, since you're going, I just had my light flicker, since you're going through some major changes right now, they're asking you, like, whatever these situations are that kind of set you off, those firecracker boom, boom, boom moments. Look, I just flipped this over and it's too much concern with sexual matters, which is about relationships and things like that. Romantic relationships, anything to do with past relationships or trauma to do with sexual trauma. There's a lot of changes happening in your life. They want to point out that they really need you to hone in and focus these next couple weeks. More than the next couple weeks, but they're asking you to just, it's almost like they're just trying to break it down into time pockets. But the next 2 weeks are pretty crucial. And I feel like this is residual energy from the reading I just did. That'll be posted Monday, and this is Tuesday's reading. Stay focused on what it is you need to stay focused on. Temptation is going to test you. You're going to want to slip into old patterns, old arguments, feeling let down. Those are the kinds of things that'll be triggered with these firecracker moments. But these are really kind of just tests, just to prove how strong you've become. Just to prove that, so when you feel tempted to fall back into old patterns over the next couple of weeks, please fight. When you give in, that's when you have problems. When you fight, when you continue the fight. That's why, like in relationships, when they say, when somebody quits fighting, that's when you know it's over. When they're still fighting, when they're still arguing, there's still hope. But when there's not any arguing anymore, it's over. And that's kind of what I'm getting here. If you have to fight your way through some type of temptation, you fight your way through some type of temptation. Somebody's going to show their true colors to you, which is probably going to want to send you off to do something that you shouldn't do. If you do it in that moment, just don't get like, it's like almost like with a diet, oh, I had a bad breakfast, so I might as well just eat whatever I want the rest of the day. Oh, well, I just had that one joint, so I might as well go buy 100 more, or whatever. That's what I'm getting here. Don't fall into that type of pattern. If you make a mistake, pick yourself up and move on, but don't get stuck in old habits and patterns. Okay. Well, they want me to go through that. Yep, okay. I'm not saying all of you celebrate Christmas, but they're telling me this December card came out for someone here to let you know that this is going to be the happiest Christmas season you have ever had. You, your family, whoever is involved. This is going to be the happiest Christmas season you've ever had. I'm hearing that it's your favorite holiday for whoever this is I'm talking to. It's your favorite holiday, or it was your favorite holiday, and it's about to be again. But this is going to be the best one you've ever had. And they wanted me to point that out. They told me to split. Okay. You're no longer letting people dictate how you run your life. That's caused some friction. It's caused confusion, but it's helped you grow immensely. It's helped you find your voice. It's helped you start to become clearer about the decisions instead of getting confused and not sure about listening to your intuition. They're telling me you're able to make decisions quicker than you were before. You've had a lot of spiritual growth. You're going through a lesson right now that it's required for your spiritual evolution, and they're telling me it's about your health and choosing yourself. It's truly about you. It's interesting. I'm getting I just can't compare it to anybody else but Jesus. I just can't. Because to me, for him to be a master of that energy, to be in that energy, the way he had to think, the way he would feel, the way, predominantly, he got out of alignment too, but the way he would think, what he would eat, he would feel, and of course he was walking all the time because they didn't have cars back then, so that, they had their carts or whatever, but he was walking a lot, so it was like he had a lot of physical activity. Everybody did back then. But it's something like that. You're stepping into some period now where you're really stepping into like the healthiest, brightest, shiniest time of your life. And it's all happening because of a spiritual awakening that you went through. And that's the lesson you're going through now. The lesson is choosing yourself, choosing your health, choosing love, choosing things that fuel you better, choose things that make you think better thoughts, choose friends that make you feel better and lift you up. You're making a lot of changes right now. And it's easy to get a checklist and go through a checklist and just I knock this off, and this off. But when it comes to emotions, they are fluid. And so you can't just check something off. One day it doesn't bother you, and the next day it does. And it gets better and it'll dissipate over time. But they're saying like you haven't even really recognized how much growth you've had because it's been such a gradual process. But it's almost, I heard something about your life looking like the Truman Show. To others. I don't know how that's relatable to you, but something about your life looking like the Truman Show to others right now. Okay. Ooh, the Emperor. You have the career card. It seems like they're putting you into leadership. They're putting you into a role. They do want you to work on organization more. This isn't something where you feel intimidated like, "Oh, I don't know what to do." They're going to help you with it. Whatever they bring up in a reading, they're not bringing this stuff up for you to try to figure out on your own. They're bringing all of this up to let you know they're here to help and this is coming. So when they're bringing up organization, don't get, yeah, that's interesting. Don't get upset or worried that you're not going to be able to figure it out. Like it's a problem. And I don't know why that's coming up, but they're saying they're making it feel that way, like it's intimidating. There's a process they're going to take you through that's going to help you get really organized. They're wanting to point out the direction of your life is going to feel like magic to other people. How something just fell in your lap is going to be so weird. Time to go out and have fun, get back to the basics of fun. You are highly thought of. Pay attention to your finances. If you find yourself in these moments of wanting to splurge just because you just don't know what to do and you're just like, I want to spend money. They want you in that moment, like what is it about me right now? What is this compulsion inside of me to where I want to just buy something right now, now? What is that? They want you to identify where that's really coming from. Sometimes you really just want something, but there's something here about getting bored or thinking, I need this to do this or I need this to do this. And you don't really need those things to do it. You just see other people with it and you want it. But it's like, so right now you may not have the finances to do that right now. You may not have the finances to do what that other person has, but you already have something to start where you are. So just kind of be careful about that, needing like the best of the best or things like that. They just be careful with that. They want you to get back to the basics of having fun like a child. It's funny. The other day I was babysitting my nephew, my great nephew. He's 6 months old, and he's standing on my legs and he's just bouncing like jump squat, jump squat, jump squat, jump squat, jump squat. And that's all I'm thinking of. And I look over, my nephew got back, and I look over at him and I said, look at him. I said, at what age do we stop doing jump squats and stop thinking things like this are fun? Like he's doing it just to have fun. He's just having a good old time using his legs. And you see kids out there, they're running and skipping and jumping and playing, and they can find something interesting about a leaf. They can find something interesting about something they see in the sky. It's like, get back into that childlike energy. Find something fun. Now, when you're in a really bad mood or you're pissed off and you're trying to do that, the only thing this is going to do is piss you off more. You don't try to have fun like that and be all lighthearted and free when you're in a pissy mood. When you're in a pissy mood, you just find a way to soothe yourself. But when you're already in a decent mood, and it's like, just try to look for things that be playful, ways to just giggle, things to make you giggle and laugh like a kid does. Get back to that type of energy. I was asking specifically with this Chariot and this Ace of Wands, and I said, what are you wanting me to say here? And I heard, full on success is headed your way by somebody that thinks highly of you. Somebody who thinks very highly of you is headed your way. This is somebody who's a really deep thinker, a leader to their core, but they are playful like this. They like to go through their day playfully. And you're going to be spending quite a lot of time with this person. So it's why not go ahead and start practicing that energy now? All right, collective, I'm going to leave that here. I'll see you in the next one. Peace and love.